doing something simple, like helping a struggling mother, turned into a battle for your honor. Meet Michael Carrington, a humble grocery store owner in a small Texas town whose life took an unexpected turn after a random act of kindness. When he stepped in to help a mother struggling to feed her children, little did he know, this gesture would set off a chain of events that would uncover his hidden past as a war hero. What happens next? Watch as the man who once saved lives in the line of fire is finally recognized, and how his community changes when they truly see him for the first time. Michael, 58 years old, ran a humble grocery store in a struggling Texas neighborhood. For 20 years, his shop stood strong, not because of flashy signs or slick ads, but thanks to pure, honest service. Day in, day out, he poured his heart into it. Can you imagine that kind of dedication? Late one afternoon, as long shadows crept across the scratched linoleum floor, a young woman stepped inside, her hands tightly gripping two small children. Their clothes were worn thin, their wide eyes brimming with a hunger Michael knew all too well. Oh, how it must have stung to see. She moved slowly, picking out just the basics: bread, eggs, a couple of apples, counting coins in her trembling palm after each choice. At the register, her face crumpled. She counted her money once, then again, and one more time for good measure. The total, $24.63. Her wallet? Only $18.75. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking as she pushed items back. "Maybe just the bread and eggs." The kids' gazes lingered on the apples, their little hearts sinking. Michael saw the girl, barely 5, squeeze her brother's hand so tight. Without a word, can you believe his kindness? He packed everything back up, slipping in a carton of milk and a box of chocolate chip cookies the kids had been eyeing. He slid the bag across the counter. "Ma'am, we don't charge hunger prices here. Take it, please." Tears glistened in her eyes. "I can't accept this, please," she protested. But Michael, soft but firm, said, "It's nothing, really." Her shoulders eased, just a bit. "My husband, he just got discharged," she murmured. "He's looking for work, and his mom's hospital bills." Her words faded. "No need to explain," Michael said with a gentle nod. How could he not feel for her? But a customer in line shot them a nasty look, muttering loud enough to sting. "What is this? A charity now? A store or a free-for-all?" Michael didn't flinch. He just kept wiping the counter, his weathered hands tracing familiar circles on the laminate. The woman clutching her bags whispered a shaky thank you and hurried out with her kids. That rude customer, though, wouldn't let it go. Glaring, phone in hand, they tapped away furiously. By evening, Michael learned the truth. They'd recorded it all, posting it online with a vicious caption: "Local store owner enabling freeloaders, killing honest business." Comments flooded in, some kind, but most cruel, piling on the hate. Can you imagine how that felt? That night, alone in his darkened store, Michael stood still. Streetlights cast eerie shadows across empty aisles. His fingers brushed an old military medal, a bronze star tucked behind the counter, nearly hidden among faded family photos. His face stayed blank, but his eyes, they carried decades of memories nobody could fathom. By morning, that video had exploded across local social media. The comments were brutal, drowning out the few who defended him. "Bet his store gets robbed next. He's asking for it," sneered an influencer with thousands of followers racking up hundreds of likes. Regulars who'd grab coffee and newspapers every day now hesitated outside. Some even turned away, too embarrassed to be linked to the store now, sparking local scandal. Miss Rodriguez, a loyal customer for 15 years, crossed the street to avoid his window. When Michael caught her eye, she looked away fast, pretending he wasn't there. How could she? At noon, Thomas Jensen, an old pal from the business association, leaned over the counter, whispering like they were plotting something. "Mike, listen, this bleeding heart stuff, it's a losing game. Nobody cares and it's tanking your business. You can't save the world." Michael, stocking shelves, didn't miss a beat. "Never tried to save the world, Tom. Just doing what's right." Thomas scoffed, waving at the empty store. "Right? That's not paying your rent, is it? Wake up, man, times change." As Thomas left, Michael cranked up his old radio. A Johnny Cash tune replaced the harsh news, filling the silence. He hummed along, working like nothing was wrong. That evening, a delivery driver he'd known forever pulled up but didn't unload the usual supplies. "Sorry, Mike," he mumbled, shifting awkwardly. "Boss says we gotta pause, something about that video. Company image, you know." Michael nodded. "I get it." The driver paused. "My dad was a vet too. He'd have respected what you did." Michael's eyes flicked up, surprised. The driver shrugged. "Saw your medal years ago. Never said anything 'cause you didn't." After closing, Michael sat at his tiny desk in the back office, penning a note by hand. He taped it to the front door. "To my valued customers, if my actions upset anyone, I take full responsibility. This store has always served this community with dignity. That won't change." He locked up and walked home through quiet streets to his small one-bedroom apartment above a laundromat. The hum of machines below followed him as he sat on his balcony watching the neighborhood wind down. His fingers found the twin medal in his pocket, identical to the one in his store. He rubbed its surface, his thumb knowing every ridge. His mind drifted, desert heat, faces of brothers from long ago, promises made when tomorrow wasn't certain. So many turned away, but Mike, he kept choosing what was right. How could he not? The next morning, a deep rumble of engines shattered the neighborhood's quiet. Can you imagine the shock? Residents peeked through curtains, jaws dropping as 5 massive military transport vehicles lined up in front of Michael's little store. Men and women in sharp uniforms poured out, forming a crisp line on the sidewalk. Mrs. Rodriguez, who dodged the store just yesterday, now stood frozen on her porch, eyes wide. The local barber, still in his apron with scissors in hand, stepped outside, staring. Even the teenagers, who never cared about anything, stopped their skateboarding to gawk. Neighbors clustered across the street, smartphones up, filming the scene. Whispers buzzed through the crowd. Is this about that video? Are they shutting him down? A woman stepped forward from the uniformed group. Wait, wasn't that the young mother from 2 days ago? Now she wore a pristine army uniform, service ribbons gleaming. Beside her stood her husband in dress blues, standing tall and formal. Their kids, now in neat clothes, stood between them, eyes huge with wonder. Behind them came an older man, silver hair shining, 3 stars on his shoulders. His presence alone demanded silence as he strode toward the store, where Michael watched from behind the counter, his face unreadable. The general entered first, cap tucked under his arm. The store went dead quiet as he reached out to Michael. "Chief Warrant Officer Michael Carrington," he said, his voice echoing in the small space. "It's been a long time, hasn't?" The crowd outside pressed against the windows, desperate to hear. "We're here to settle a debt, one you never asked to be repaid," the general declared. The young woman stepped up. "Sir, I recognized your medal that day. My husband was with the 7. When I told him, he knew you instantly." Her husband nodded, voice steady. "The Mogadishu angel, the medic who wouldn't leave." The general faced the crowd. 30 years ago in Somalia, Chief Carrington was a combat medic. When our position was overrun, he defied orders to evacuate. For 16 grueling hours, he kept 7 men alive under relentless fire until rescue came. He locked eyes with Michael. "I was one of those men. Can you believe his courage?" Silence gripped the store. He earned the Silver Star but never shows. After discharge, he vanished into civilian life, never bragging, never seeking glory. The woman's husband spoke again. "When my wife told me what you did here, I called my old commander. Word spread like wildfire. We all had to be here today." The local Veterans Association president, who'd come with the convoy, addressed the crowd. "Not all heroes wear uniforms. Some wear aprons, living by honor every single day." One by one, each service member approached Michael, snapping off crisp salute. Michael returned each one, his movements precise, muscle memory untouched by time. Outside, the crowd, expecting a scandal, witnessed something incredible. A quiet man finally seen for his true worth. That afternoon, people flooded the store, not to shop, but to say thank you. A young boy shyly handed Michael a hand-drawn card. "I want to grow up to be like you." An elderly veteran set a faded photo on the counter. Young men in desert fatigues, arms around each other. "We still remember Mike," he choked out, voice cracking. Miss Rodriguez crept in, holding homemade empanadas. For your dinner, she whispered, eyes low. I'm so sorry about yesterday. News crews showed up, but Michael waved them off. This isn't about me, he said. It's about remembering we're all just people, trying to make it through. Isn't that what matters? Thomas Jensen shuffled back, mumbling, I'll get coffee for everyone. Least I can do. The man who'd posted that cruel video came last, publicly deleting it on his phone as everyone watched. I was wrong, he admitted, the words sounding foreign in his mouth. Michael stood through it all, one hand on his medal, now proudly displayed. A rare smile broke across his face. When was the last time anyone saw that? The final visitor was the general, holding a perfectly folded American flag. He presented it to Michael with solemn respect. The first time in 30 years Michael stood among his brothers and sisters in arms. Some folks live their whole lives without chasing praise. They just need to know, even once, that kindness is never wrong. Isn't that beautiful?